Day, gamers, and welcome to Gaymercraft, the only YouTube channel where I, the mighty fake gaming nerd, can be seen in all their glory. 20 episodes, I've expanded the storage system a little bit. Like the squirrels, they had a really good design that was really nice, but I needed more storage than what they had, and I also wanted to bring in like all the crafting things and enchanters and all etc. and all the chipped crafting tables and everything, and there wasn't obviously enough room, so I just expanded it a bit. I tried my best to mimic the style of the squirrels. I'm not too sure if I managed to pull it off, to be honest. The squirrels have like a certain pizzazz to them that I'm not sure I can quite pull off. Another thing I've done is I have made the super furnace of awesomeness. It will smelt, it will smoke, it will wash, and it will haunt. And that's run using this watermill here. It's hooked up around the back. We've got a fan, and the way fans work in Create is if they go past certain things like water, campfires, or lava, they'll actually change the properties of the air that it's blowing. So the water causes washing to happen. Washing, what's something that would be washed? Iron. Nope, that's blasting. Go there, go there, there. Washing. So any washing ingredients work like this. Great way to turn concrete powder into concrete without having to place them in world. The smoker smokes things, obviously. You can use either a fire or a campfire. Campfire is a little bit easier, in my opinion. And then we've got haunting. Haunting is a very nice touch, especially in the Vault Hunters pack, because it adds, like, you can turn sweet berries into glowberries, mushrooms into other mushrooms. Tends to make things spooky in quotations, so like deep sleep becomes infested deep sleep. And yep, dirt into soil. The nice way to just craft more things. So if you happen to have like heaps of brown mushrooms, don't know what fungus, it's good for that. Bulk blasting just does any smelting operation essentially, except for the food. The food is separated into the smoking. So you got all these. And yeah, I came up with this design because usually when you're doing these, you'll have a fan for each process. And I was kind of curious if like you could get one fan to do all of these. And you know, one of the key ways to tell that the air has changed is the particles will change. And so I came up with this design. It's got this, that, and then the lava at the end. The other these smart sheets are basically just, for example, this one is just um, filtering for anything that can be washed, which causes anything that can be washed in there. Anything that can be smoked goes down there. And then the bottom chute has the negative attribute placed, so cannot be washed. So basically what will happen is things will go here, they'll be getting washed, and for 99% of recipes that you can do in bulk here, when they're finished processing, they will then the whatever that output is can't be washed or like can't be smoked, etc. So that these chutes basically allow us to mean and filters means we can take out the items when they're done without having to set up a filter for every item that can be washed, etc., etc. Um, the one exception, which is a really weird exception, is for whatever reason, and I don't think it shows it in the tooltip, but it for whatever reason it seems to happen that fish um, can apparently be blasted, like smelted. They don't. It it works as a trash can for that. So I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but it is an option. So I have to add a second filter attribute to this saying that it cannot be smoked in order to stop the fish from going in there and then getting voided. I don't know why, as far as I'm aware, only fish have that particular issue. Um, I don't know if it's a bug or an intended feature, but in my opinion, uh, I think it would be a good idea to not have that exception for fish because it kind of gums up things like this and other filter-based systems, so without really adding anything. So I don't know. Maybe on the off chance that one of the great developers maybe consider changing that. But otherwise, this works really well. I can essentially just... The good thing about having it all in one chest input and output is I can just throw anything that I think can be smelted or washed or haunted into the chest, and I don't have to worry about, okay, this chest is just for the smoking, this one's just for the smelting. I just throw them all in one chest and then they all come out. Uh, Other changes, I've just created a little altar for the altar. And now for something I'm sure you're all looking forward to is the progress on the excavation site. We have made quite a lot of progress and have... I don't know why that's ghosting. Probably if I reload that will fix that. It's not actually there, so I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, so we've done quite a lot of excavating. We come down here. Before it was about here was where we stopped. And the squirrels just seem to make this little contraption. I've been waiting until I've been recording to check this out. So I'm a little curious. Okay, so we got an interface. There's only 2 levels. I'm assuming we're on level 2. So let's press this and go on down. Ooh, that's a structure. That's a pretty big structure. I did excavate a little bit down to there. Just ignore the continuity error of I have never used this elevator before recording while also simultaneously having excavated down to here. Don't worry about that. That is not a continuity error. That is uh timey-wimey stuff. Yes, let's go timey-wimey stuff. And okay, this looks ominous. The cube, you say? Interesting. What do we got going on here? Can't really see what's going on in there. I'm gonna take torches off so we can. That looks like a spawner. We got 4 identical cubes. This leads nothing. Okay. There looks to be a pressure plate here. So what happens if we step on this? Oh. 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 This must be some sort of spawner that the squirrels have made. And I love how that turns off. Because this is a bit evil for some squirrels to make. Just endlessly killing other mobs. That's a little bit scary. Well, I mean, so the vultures often have like mob drops as resources, and if the squirrels are running the vaults a lot, then they would need to kill a bunch of mobs. So it makes sense why they probably built this, but still it's a bit ominous. Like, if the squirrels have managed to make this technological marvel, what else are we going to find in the excavation site? Are we in danger, perhaps? Have squirrels at one point harvested Minecraft players for their mob drops? A lot of questions. Not a lot of answers. This is the cube. And we are back. We're about to do a rambling time, but just as I was crafting the vault crystal, I figured I'd introduce the new what update 14 added, which is the crystal workbench. This is the way, if you want to know more about the changes in update 14, I made a video just going over the changes and my personal opinion about some of them. But I'll give a quick read down. So seals are now applied here, as well as the theme augments and the catalyst. And capstones have been added. They're just a way to add certain attributes. The thing to keep in mind about capstones is once you apply one, the crystal becomes unmodifiable and you can only apply one to each crystal. So we're going with the Wendar capstone because I need to get some more Wendar favor. And we went with the Seal of the Hunter because one of my bounties is to get Creeper Eyes. So I'm just gonna craft that. And we're gonna head off into a vault and do some rambling. Waiting for it to load. Waiting. Okay, so we've got our blocks. Switch these up. All right. This rambling time is I'm going to talk about Pride Month since I didn't get any suggestions in the comments in the last video. And we're in the middle of Pride Month, so why not start talking about it a little bit? All right, so I'm gonna get started rambling now. Okay. So I'm gonna be honest, Pride Month isn't something I've particularly been involved or known about when I was younger. It was always a because I live in Sydney, and for Sydney we've got Mardi Gras, which is the real big queer event that occurs. And so for me, my Pride Month has always kind of been Mardi Gras. But that's only really if you're in Sydney and you have the Mardi Gras going on, obviously. And in America, obviously, they have Pride Month. Yeah, as a proud queer trans person, I am very glad Pride Month is a thing because I think it's a good way to try and combat the past bigotry and just a way for queer people to feel like they belong in society, that they feel welcomed, and also an opportunity to talk about any issues the queer community faces. I do need them. Cool. So yeah, I am a proud pride enjoyer. I think awareness and inclusivity are good things. And look, one of the common things that come up with Pride Month is like, first one is, big one is, why do queer people get a whole month? And, you know, that is somewhat a good point. I don't know the exact history of Pride Month, but for me, like personally, like even though it's an entire month, it's not like there's like well, there are actually, that's a lie. It's society, especially Western society, has had a long history of racism, sexism, and homophobia and transphobia. And so there's a Black History Month. I'm fully supportive of Black History Month. I think it's just like Pride Month is important. I think Black History Month is important. Yeah. We got International Women's Day. It's like, sure, like, you could argue, like, oh, a month seems like a long time. But, like, Christmas goes for 3 months. And not everyone is Christian, yet we're expected. Well, most Western societies expect you to, if not celebrate Christmas exactly, but be part of the festivities in some aspect. So really, when you put it that way, a month really isn't that long of a time. At least I don't think so. I mean, granted, I am queer and trans, so I am naturally a little bit biased towards having a month. But yeah, I don't have a problem with Christmas being celebrated for 3 months. I don't have a problem with Black History Month. I don't have a problem with Easter. Yeah, if people want to have time to celebrate, I think they should be allowed to do that. Which is potentially a controversial opinion, but I certainly hope it's not. And yeah. Okay, let's talk about awareness. I've been up here, haven't I? Yes. Why awareness is important. So for me, when I grew up, there wasn't a lot of information on queer and trans people. I didn't know trans was a thing, for example, until I was 17, probably 18 was when I probably first roughly heard about trans people. I heard about it from Rocky Horror Picture Show, which I know for a lot of trans people is where it's not necessarily a good media in itself, but it was, to give it some credit, probably one of the first media that featured a trans person and explicitly stated as such. And so, yeah, and I didn't meet my first trans person until I was 19. In terms of gay people, I learnt about them very briefly in PDHP when I was probably about 15. It was a very, very brief part of it because I went to a Catholic school, so I'm actually predisposed to not want to talk about the gays. Yeah, and so for a lot of my life, I was not aware of queer people. So from that aspect, awareness is important because people generally should know about themselves and be aware of themselves. Um, and so, yeah, I wish that I knew sooner, or my life would have been much different if I probably would have came out sooner, probably would have transitioned sooner and all that sort of stuff. So awareness is important. And then the other side of awareness is a lot of people, and this is not a nitpick of people, it's just everyone kind of has this situation where they kind of live in a bubble. And so there's a lot of people who are not aware of even like queer and trans people, and also what they face and what it's like being like them, what it actually everything means. And so it's important for people to learn about people that are different to themselves, so that because people, if they don't know about something, they tend to either react with hate or fear. And by increasing awareness, we are hopefully reducing that bigotry. So that's why I think awareness is very important. Why did I come up here? Did I think there would be... Why did I think there would be coins up here? That's a silly thought. Ooh. We're gonna quickly go down. Yeah. Break those. I really need to get a picker ring to break all these. Boop. Go, and let's just go straight up. Not even going to bother looking at the quest. Inclusivity is important because essentially it's kind of very closely linked to the awareness aspect. People like to see other people like them. It helps them feel less alone. If they're not inclusivity also helps people learn about themselves. So people can be like, hey, here's a trans person. They have some of the experiences that I have. Maybe it's possible I'm trans. Or it's like, or even like, hey, this is a trans person. They have these experiences. I don't have these experiences. And so maybe I'm not trans. So that's, and you wouldn't know that unless you experienced, got to see other people who are different to you or similar, slightly similar to you. So that's why I find awareness to be very important. It's also just in general, I was talking about inclusivity, wasn't I? Yes. This is what happens when you ramble. You forget what you're talking about. Or at least that's what happens when I ramble. And no, damn it. I need to go back up. And it's also just humans are social creatures. We like to be part of communities and be together with other people. And knowing that it's okay and encouraged to do that, I think is a good thing. Let's talk about why Pride Month is called Pride. Because a lot of the time when people talk about Pride, they generally see it as a negative thing due to Christianity, the 7 deadly sins, one of them being pride. So why on earth would LGBTQPI plus people want to have a month that's called Pride? The reason behind that is for so long of history, queer people, I keep saying trans people, but I really mean queer people most of the time when I'm saying that, were taught that it was sinful to be who they are, that they should be ashamed, and that they are disgusting. And there's a lot of historical guilt and shame as a result of that. So, and pride is kind of like the opposite emotion of shame and guilt and disgust. Because it's very hard to both feel ashamed of yourself and proud of yourself at the same time. And so it's about counteracting the narrative that it is sinful and shameful to be who you are. Which, like, people should not be ashamed or feel guilty for being who they are. Anyone who does that, I think, is a bad person. In general. And so I suppose another thing to keep in mind is, like, if you're queer, if you're cishet, Pride Month can also be something for you as well, because because it's important for you as well to not be ashamed of who you are. So it's not just for queer people, it's also a reminder for other people to also have pride in who they are, and just knowing that who you are is okay, that you're an amazing person, and that the world is better off with you. I think that's a really good message for everyone, really. And that's not like saying like, oh, this thing about queer people has to also be about non-queer people. It's more of a, because I get sometimes like not having a thing that's not for you can be a little annoying and frustrating. But yeah, just like Pride is about inclusivity, we have to also accept that that also means that any messaging can apply to people that it's not specifically catered towards, and that those people can also be included if they choose to, with those particular message and values, which I think provides a good, like, I think these are good qualities for society as a whole to learn, and I think society is better off with these qualities being instilled in people. Um, and yes, that's, yeah, a lot of my thoughts on Pride. Okay. Now let's talk about Pride's lesser known cousin of Wrath Month, which occurs after Pride Month. For FYI, this is because I was talking seriously about things that Wrath Month is not actually a thing. I'm making a joke about that. So don't at me about it. Or do. I mean, I can't decide what you're gonna do. God, I'm being extra rambly today, aren't I? I wonder what it is. It's probably because I have so many thoughts and feelings about Pride Month, because a lot of the values that Pride Month is about are values that I hold dearly. And I'm trying to prioritize the thoughts that I have that I think are most important to hear about. And yeah, that I really struggle with doing things like that. Yeah. Uh, I'm going to start talking about Mardi Gras actually, because like I stated at the beginning, Mardi Gras is more of a time for me to let my queerness out than Pride is. I've been to a couple of Mardi Gras. I'm a bit of a hermit, so I'm not very much not the party gay. But there's still been good events to go to in little spurts. I don't go every year because that would be too much. But I'll usually watch the parade on the TV. And it's always great to see. Except for the cops. Having cops at Pride should not be a thing. Like, Mardi Gras should not be a thing. Mardi Gras was specifically started as a protest. And the original people of Mardi Gras got arrested by cops. And so it just, especially considering that those people are still part of those events, it feels very wrong to have the cops around. at Mardi Gras, in my personal opinion. But obviously not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay too. Like, there is something to say about people being that in order to change a system, you need to be in the system, and that is true. To an extent. It's just more specifically Mardi Gras, given its history as a protest and the fact that there are a lot of people who go to Mardi Gras who were arrested. There's a whole section called the 87ers. I think it was 87ers. That is just the people who were part of the original protest. And yeah, they're essentially marching right along with the very system that arrested them and they got in trouble with. So I feel like that's disrespectful to them. Now, to be fair and balanced, I myself have never talked to one of the 87ers. I haven't actually looked up what their thoughts on the subject is. I would like to hope, or at least I hope, that they have a huge influence on the parade still, and so that the cops are there because they're okay with it. But I don't know how all that is set up, so I don't know that for certain. I can just hope. And yeah, I also don't like how corporatized Mardi Gras has been, like, because once again, was originally a protest, so having cops around feels like corporations around kind of feels like an antithesis to the whole point of Mardi Gras, in my opinion. And like, the corporations are just there to virtue signal, and I don't like virtue signaling. Especially when a lot of the corporations that are there and do take part, the very next day they'll come around and have like transphobic and homophobic and queerphobic policies that they don't change. It's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and I'm never a fan of people who do that. I need to start heading back. Boop. Got 600 meters to run. Let's go. Yeah. I just want to give a shout out to the queer youths that are, if they happen to be watching this, I want them to know that they are loved and that I am so proud of them for having the courage to be who they are. I also hate that they have to have courage to be who they are. But yeah, I really hope that their lives are better than my life in terms of like representation and inclusivity, and I think for the most part it is. Um, but I also know that we're not there yet. I don't know how to. I've got the wrong way. It's that way, isn't it? Yep. That is why I ate the lemon and not a kiwi. You are loved, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And just any queer people who are watching this, I hope that these videos make you feel seen. I know when I watch queer YouTubers, I feel really seen, and it really makes me feel less alone. And so, and I like having that feeling. And so part of the reason why I make these videos is to kind of pay that forward so that other people may also feel good and less alone because of my videos, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. It's just really, I want queer people to be okay. I want us to be safe, and I know that's not a reality yet, but I hope it will be. And I hope that I can, in some way, uh, am helping get to that place for everyone. And yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional because these things mean a lot to me. That's going to be it for today. I hope you've had enjoyed your time here, no matter how brief or long it's been. I hope your day goes as well as it can be. Happy Pride Month, and I'll see you in the next video. Look after yourself, practice self-care, and g'day gamers.